Hello and welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, co-host Lori Hintz.
Hello there.
Well.
Yeah, well, so it is Tuesday, and we have some really fun stuff on the docket, including a guest from the Senate, so that'll be awesome today.
We do indeed, and we've got some interesting bills to go over. We had a repeat show Monday, so this is the first of the week. So welcome to a new week. And it's warm.
It is, and you're getting really close to crossover, so you're probably short timers, like in the legislature, I'm guessing at this point.
We're basically, I hope we're going to be done tomorrow.
That doesn't sound very hopeful. Let's hope.
Right.
Okay, so let's kick things off with a bill. Let's talk about HB 1431.
Okay. So, yeah, I thought for this first segment, there's a few bills that people have been interested. We've talked about a couple of them, and basically an update. So we had talked about a bill that would borrow money, and I forget if we had a guest or if we just talked about it peripherally, but it's called a bonding bill, and bonding is just another term for borrowing, just like investing. If you're the government, investing is just a nice term for spending. And so it's very interesting because on Friday, the House passed a bonding bill, which comes to the tune of about $750 million.
Wow.
And it's really this weird thing because they're for good projects. And so to argue against it, it's like, you know, the argument is against the projects when that's not actually the case. The argument is against borrowing. And it's even hard to argue against the...
Because you like the borrowing. You said it wasn't, you don't, better than just all out spending.
Well...
Yes and no?
No.
Okay.
No. It's if you're going to spend on something, it's better to spend the money you have than to borrow additional money.
I see. So this is borrowing additional money.
This is borrowing additional money. So it's, I was going to say it's hard to argue against that idea of borrowing because interest rates are so low, and if you're not able to do things right up front as far as big capital projects, meaning big infrastructure projects, as you delay them, the cost increases because, you know, construction costs always increase. So you balance these things.
Right.
And so you can make these strong arguments, but the problem is they get convoluted and you ignore the very first argument, which is, should we borrow or should we live within our means? So go ahead and pull up a graphic here. We've got House Bill 1431, again, passed by the House. Here's what you're looking at. That we're going to borrow, and now most of these, the way it's being paid back is over the course of many years. Legacy fund earnings and interest are going to pay this. So again, here's the problem. We have been using legacy fund earnings and interest to pay for the stuff that we want to pay for. Now we're going to take it from future legislators to pay for the stuff that we want to do. So $435 million is going to Fargo diversion. Now arguably, and I'll say arguably, the Fargo diversion project is important, and people will say, we made a commitment. Well, that's fine if you made a commitment, but don't borrow to fulfill what you committed to.
Right.
You know, another is to the Resources Trust Fund. There's $50 million to the Infrastructure Revolving Loan Fund. Now this, I think, is interesting. They're going to borrow $50 million, put it into a pool that cities and counties can borrow from and then pay back. I have much less of a problem with that. That's a way to try and leverage these earnings that we have, so you can provide low interest loans, and these local municipalities can do what they need to do for infrastructure. That's smart, but that's 50 million out of basically 754 million, I believe.
Wow.
And then 70 million goes to the highway fund. Again, this idea that, you know, we can't pay for our roads with all the money that we have, and then 50 million goes to NDSU for an agriculture building. And then another 74.5 million goes to Minot as far as their flood control. So that's it for that. That's what we're looking at. Again, good projects, but we're borrowing.
Millions and millions and millions of
dollars. As I pointed out before, and I said on the floor of the House during a different debate, North Dakota is #1 for the amount of tax we collect, statewide tax collections for every man, woman, and child. Per capita, #1 in the nation.
Of all
We've got
United
a
States.
ton of money coming in. We should be able to do what we need to do, if it's truly necessary, without borrowing from the future.
Well, and when you say borrowing from the future, you're talking about our children and our grandchildren paying off that amount as well.
Yep. They will not have access to the legacy fund like we currently do. All right, there was another bill. We had Representative Steiner on the show, and it was a gas tax increase. It was a 6-cent increase. After the show, and I perhaps related to the show
Talking
and the
about
feedback, it got cut to a 3-cent increase. Now again, this is kind of an iffy one because a gas tax overall is a fair tax. It's used by the consumer, the people that are using the roads pay to use the roads effectively with gas tax, okay?
If you like taxes.
The thing is that this was not offset. They didn't say, hey, let's increase gas tax and it's going to be more fair because we're going to decrease your taxes somewhere else to an equivalent amount, or in my opinion, obviously a lot more. They just said, hey, we're going to increase gas tax to pay for roads, which goes back to the idea somehow people are thinking we don't have the money to pay to fix our roads.
Where
and
does
yet
that, from where
it's
does that idea
number
come?
one. We're number one
so
in the nation.
frustrating.
It's an embarrassment.
It is.
Can you imagine a conservative state with a supermajority of Republicans, with every single statewide elected office being Republican, being number one for the most taxes collected per capita?
Should be
now,
just the opposite.
people will say, well, no, a lot of those taxes are oil. Yes, I agree. I'm not trying to fool anyone. We're not doing sales tax and income tax to be number one. The oil money's coming in. But the thing is, if you're truly conservative and you're sticking to principles, you offset all of that huge oil revenue by decreasing the tax burden on people, which then would put us somewhere else. You know, and we talked, I won't go into all the details.
It was a good rant.
But that's just not
So
be done.
instead of 6 cents, I read that they moved it to 3 cents.
Yeah, it's 3 cents, and it passed. So gas taxes, assuming that it passes in the Senate, gas taxes will go up, and yet you, people of North Dakota, have nothing to offset. No decrease in income tax, no decrease in property tax, no decrease in sales tax, just more taxes. So you can't tell me that it's about fairness if you didn't offset it with decreasing people's taxes somewhere else.
That was one thing that I really loved about what Trump did, is he was so good about deregulating things and taking off the burdens of things. At the same time, when he was in office, he was really cognizant of that, and I don't understand why we don't understand that in the legislature.
Yeah. I guess we have a little clip of me on the floor. It's nothing stellar, but with regard to the first one with the borrowing bill, let's play that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the Assembly, I'll be very brief. If we needed to borrow money, this would be a really smart way to do it. And if we were going to borrow money, these are really important, smart projects to spend that money on. The problem is that these are projects that states normally fund routinely, usually out of the general fund. These are projects that, up until we had a ton of legacy fund earnings, we funded. So it's just really hard for me to, to accept that with a record budget that will likely have this biennium, over the record budget we had last biennium, we have to borrow money to do projects that are normal projects that every state has. I have no hope whatsoever to flip this bill. I just think it needs to be stated that we are spending like crazy, and yet it's not enough. We have to borrow so that we can maintain our spending, and it's unfortunate.
And my favorite part of that clip was watching Luke Simons, your cohort, in front of you going like yes.
Yeah. Interesting times, but that's that. Let's. I made a little meme. Let's show the meme. So, you've seen something around like this, and it's funny because there's a really good legislator from Minnesota, Jeremy Munson. He contacted me this morning and said, "Hey, I stole your meme," and he converted it. Actually, made it look better, but for the Minnesota legislature. So you go up to the pop fountain, and you're like, "Gosh, I don't know what to have. Should I borrow more money? Should I raise taxes? Should I just keep record level spending
Let's
where
do
it's
all
at,
three.
or should I cut spending?" I think I'm going to go crazy here. I'm going to do all of them except cut spending.
I saw that online and laughed. It's very illustrative of what's going on. Very good
well,
stuff. So.
it's sadly the case. So no
right.
sign of cutting spending whatsoever, but we're going to do all that other stuff.
When we come back, we are going to have with us a legislator from the Senate with us. you'll enjoy this.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality. Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We are excited to have with us the prestigious and renowned Senator from District 10, Janne Myrdal.
All right, Janne. All
Janne,
right.
thanks for being
Wow.
with us.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, before you start.
I have to live up to that now?
Yeah, you should. But also, Lori is very excited to have you on, and I've learned that if she's this excited to have you on, I'm not going to get a word in edgewise. So I just wanted to thank you before she took over.
Oh,
for being
okay.
here.
So I'm supposed to turn this way?
Well,
Which is
no,
kind
I'm
of
still
awkward.
going to try.
It's happened. He's totally just yanking
I'm
my
still
chain
gonna
and
try.
teasing me. He's
All right.
not wrong. He's not wrong. I have been known to
Well, good to
stomp
see
on
you.
him. So yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some wine at your house one time, and I heard that you fed him some fish at your house.
You know what?
Not fish,
I brought
fish
you some
paste.
fish paste.
Fish
Actually,
paste.
they're cod eggs.
I don't know.
I think
Failed.
he likes me better.
For all
just
those who
saying.
like him out there, he failed. He
If
completely
I was on a
Just
deserted
saying.
island with no food and I was the day before dying from starvation, I would probably be happy to have it. Otherwise,
Well,
no.
you don't have that Viking spirit. What happened?
That's exactly right.
I'm
All right, so let's
determined.
talk bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not hijacking this. I'm not. 2124.
Oh, great.
Let's talk about 2124.
2124 came about, actually I started working with 3 other senators on that bill back in November, and I have to admit before the election, so whoops. Because we felt, like all of us have felt, right, that the citizens were not satisfied. They were struggling, and again, let me just say that bill has to do with the authority of the governor in emergency events. And we felt, the four of us, that we need to move forward. So this is not against the current administration. This is not necessarily about COVID. This is about, we found some holes.
Yep.
In the
Let
Century
me
Code.
interrupt for a second because we
Yep.
have the graphic up.
Okay.
And it declares, so if the governor declares a state of emergency, on or before the 30th day of the declared state of emergency, calls a special session of the Legislative Assembly to be held between the 31st and 60th. So somewhere he's got an emergency state of emergency for the first month. You've got up to another month to have the legislature come in.
Yep.
And if that doesn't happen, the 60th day, it's done. So the longest, without legislative intervention, the longest a state of emergency can last is 2 months, correct?
That's exactly right. So what it does, of course, the governor needs to have emergency powers. I mean, we all know that. What we've seen in the Century Code before this bill passed the Senate, and it passed veto-proof, by the way, which is good, so that's coming to you guys,
Yes.
so please do the same, is that it needed to have a time limitation, and it also needed us to come in and share the burden with the governor when it's that vast of a thing.
Yes.
And we had some pushback from some people said, well, gosh, if there's a flood in Minot, or, well, you know, we can do it virtually now, right, Rick? So we still should be a part of these decisions and making these massive amount of appropriations, especially from the federal government, if it goes beyond 60 days. The other thing it does, it knocks the state health officer, he cannot exceed the scope of the governor's authority. So that's the third provision.
That's interesting.
Yes, because I think that's important too.
It
Because
is.
he's not an elected official, and they're trying to do their job. But right now, we've gone to 3 or 4 of them.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, at least in my neighborhood, felt like they weren't in touch with our citizens. You know, I mean, a little bar in Munich or Bathgate, North Dakota, is not the same as a bar in Bismarck.
Right.
You know, there's different decision-making things. So, and the fourth provision was that we can do it virtually. Because that's literally in the Constitution that it has to be at the seat of government, but we're doing it virtually now. So
Yes.
going forward, it's not a hardship. We just want to share that burden with the governor or with whoever is the governor at the time, no matter what massive emergency could come that would last beyond 60 days.
Exactly.
And did you get much pushback? Because this idea, I mean, the way you've explained it is brilliant, and it's exactly correct. It's not about the governor. It's not about trying to take jabs. It's not about personalities even. It's just recognizing, because this is the first time. Typically, when a state of emergency is called, it'd be for a natural disaster or something of that nature. And it's limited to something very specific.
Yeah.
You know, get things rolling, enact emergency services, do what you need to do, and it's done.
Yep.
This is a whole new thing. So it's not so much that it's against Governor Burgum, although he's not necessarily my favorite. That's irrelevant. It's just about, and so my question is, did you get pushback on this concept that we need to allow the governor these expanded powers without trying to put the limitation of 60 days in this case?
You know what? We worked on it a long time, like I said, long before session, and we didn't get so much pushback. One of the things, the National Guard was a little concerned when we first came with the bill, like, what if it's a flood and it goes beyond 60 days? And I said, well, then the legislators just part of the decision to make it beyond 60 days for the Minot flood. Another pushback we got, well, because the bill says that you can't do another emergency for the same costs.
Okay.
So they said, well, what if it's a flood? Well, 6 weeks later, it rained again. Well, that's a new circumstance, right? That's not the same circumstance. You know? I mean, we got to be sensible here. So we did get some pushback there, but I mean, in the Senate, it was very high support for it. We did amend a few things. We took, because of home rule, and you know what home rule means. We can't control. Yeah, home rule basically, it's local subdivisions. North Dakota is power bottom up, right? So your local townships, your cities. So that's where your elected officials that you like or dislike or whatever in those cities. We can't go into Fargo and say you can't do X, Y, Z if you think it's the best for your people, even though there was a temptation. Oh, and I forgot one circumstance which was important. We also wrote in that appropriations, nothing can be given or used or moved around, and you know what that means. You know, a lot of money, if we get a lot of federal money, unless it is through the budget, through the appropriations body, which is the legislators.
Really?
It's not, yeah, so we put that in there too.
Brilliant.
That's
so
actually
you can't.
very substantial.
Yeah, it is substantial.
Wow.
So you know, we got 1.25 billion. There's another, we passed it out today, another bill that deals with that kind of thing, that if it's over $1 million or something, they need to call more of us in. You know, up to 100 million. Up to 100 million, Yeah,
Sure.
but after
Still,
that.
the legislature should have a
So
say in it.
basically, the bill, what it accomplishes is that the governor needs to call us into session if he wants that emergency to last more than 60 days.
It just sounds totally prudent to me. Sounds like
thank you.
common sense.
It is common sense. And I told the governor's office too, and I work well with them, This is not an attack on them. I think it's been a rough time for the governor, a rough time for all of us. But to me, I hope we never get this again. But what if we have cyber warfare?
Right.
What if we have the grid shut off? What if, we're in the new world, right? So we need to have this on the books. And as legislators, we need to be willing, since we stepped into the arena, to come to Bismarck or to do this job.
I'm
for the
thrilled this
people.
is coming out of the Senate. I think that is just fantastic. Because the House would be a little more hospitable, I would think, to it. You would think.
The
No?
Senate has
Things seem different this session.
very
What's
different.
going on?
The
It's
Senate
all
is rock
good,
solid
man.
conservative on a lot of things. We passed a lot of other things we can talk about later that
I'm
are
not sure if
shocking.
I would say rock solid conservative.
On these issues.
Okay.
On budgets,
But it
no,
seems
not
that
so
the
much.
Senate has just a bit more of a spine than I've seen in the past,
I
and
agree.
it seems that the House has
You're welcome.
less of a spine.
Thank you. We
Yes,
know.
thank
We are
you.
very grateful. No,
I
we are.
appreciate that.
And we're coming
So,
up on crossover very soon.
Yeah,
here,
we
too,
are.
so-
Hey, we're leaving tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. These guys are going to be like Friday.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
don't know what's going on.
All right.
Well, we
Sorry.
feel like we have to debate every bill
I
in the
know.
House. Yeah.
What is that?
Well, I don't know.
It's like a debate club. And we did too the last 2 days. So we had two bills that went 23-23. So we're sitting there going, oh my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
And the lieutenant governor had to do the final,
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Sorry.
if they have a tie, the lieutenant governor gets to break the tie. That's
Yep.
a very interesting thing on the Senate.
Right.
So listen, we are keeping Janne with us for another segment. Stick with us. We're going to talk about more cool stuff.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. We are still with Senator Janne Myrdal from District 10.
Edinburgh.
Yep, bingo.
I know, right?
Yeah, you've been there.
I have. I've been there. It's awesome.
Great metropolitan
You have
area.
I love your actual farmstead is pretty fantastic. It was
Well,
pretty
thank you.
impressive too. And then you have an amazing mother-in-law
Yes,
who I got
she
to
is.
have a FaceTime with, which is a really big deal. That
She's
was a
an
really
icon
big,
in-
yeah,
in
she's
North
pretty
Dakota
much an
politics,
icon.
yep.
For those who do not
She's
know.
almost 93 and just going strong.
Rosemary Myrdal,
Yeah.
and she's the bomb. She just gave me some great advice too when I was.
She did. Yeah.
I was getting ready to be a national committee woman. So fantastic lady. Okay, so let's talk about some more of your bills. We got
Okay.
we got one about, and I think you've had horses before.
Yes. We're gonna kill horses now.
Well, we're going to try not to beat a dead horse, but it
No.
sounds like they were doing that in the Senate. So
You know, in the Senate today, okay, so this has a little backstory because I'm like you, want to cut spending. And so in the interim, we've been finding out that the Horse Racing Commission gets $500,000. And they come and report to us, to our committee, what they do. And after 2 interim committees, I was still trying to figure out what they do. So I just put a bill in to, not kill them, not to kill the horses. I love horses. I actually trained race horses, so it's probably the best one to bring that bill.
Right.
But to say there are things that the state of North Dakota needs to get out of. And $500,000 might sound like very little money, but it was a philosophical thing to me. And I wasn't able to kill it, so then I tried to kill it in budget, and I almost got half the Senate to kill it. So today on the floor, I used that metaphor because I wanted to bury a horse today, not to kill one. And that was the Equal Rights Amendment, which has been dead for 42 years, and it started to stink. And so I used that metaphor today.
But
So it's kind of funny.
1979, the ERA
Yeah.
came out, I think. And
I don't think you and I were born yet, were we?
No, I was
He might have
really
been,
young.
but
I was very young at the time.
So, and now the federal government and the national abortion industry is using that and saying, oh yeah, North Dakota passed it, but it had a sunset clause. It had 7 years.
So I think we need to give just a little bit of groundwork to
Explanation.
our viewers.
All right.
We're talking about an ERA amendment.
Yeah.
You said that 47 years ago. What are we
42.
talking about?
42 years ago,
What are
it
we
was
talking about?
nullified, but it's still hanging there. We haven't removed it.
So the state of North Dakota said, "Hey, yeah, let's do this."
Yeah.
Back then. But it didn't pan out. But it's still hanging there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so now the federal, you know what we have for federals now, it's very pro-abortion through the 9th month, and all the abortion industry's groups, and I could quote them from here to kingdom come, said let's use it to codify abortion through the 9th month in federal law. See, what people don't understand, it's never been codified in federal law. That's why we as states, even in spite of Roe versus Wade, we've been able to limit it
We're
to the point we
sovereign,
can.
sovereignty.
Yeah, we're sovereignty. What they were trying to do, Rick, is to use that old horse, if you will, several of them from several states. They only got 20-some states to ratify it, so they never met the threshold of the Constitution. So we actually passed it today to get rid of it. And I said, hey, if you want a new ERA, bring it back from Congress. Let's have a new conversation today. It's not about women's rights anymore. It's about abortion for those liberals.
Yep.
Right.
So pretty thrilled today that we were able to
that's
bury that
pretty cool.
horse.
That's great news.
Yeah,
I was hoping
great
that
news.
people were going to vote
Yeah.
that way. So
Yeah.
that's great news.
Yeah.
How about what is it? 1323? Is this?
No, 2030.
Oh, 20. That's right.
2030.
2030. That's right.
1323 is on his
That's
side.
right. That's right.
over on that.
2030. That's right. You're right.
2030, it was a standalone appropriations. It's a matching grant for higher ed. Okay, so the background on this one is one of our higher ed institutions, NDSU, have been partnering with Planned Parenthood for years and years and years, and we've asked them over and over and over again not to do that. Now, they don't use state money, they use federal money, but they're basically a conduit for Planned Parenthood is the largest abortion provider in the nation.
Right, right.
For North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Planned Parenthood to get millions of dollars to teach our children things that I wouldn't speak about on this show,
Right.
just not good things. And last session, and Rick, you signed this, I think it was 89 or 90 of the lawmakers signed an open letter to NDSU. And I like NDSU, I'm an ag person, don't take me wrong. But they just, I think they ended up just laughing it off and said no. So this standalone bill came, so I just put an amendment on the floor. We can do that on the Senate floor.
Let's take a look at the graphic here. It says, so this is regarding getting grants.
It's about $20 million grant.
Yep. And so we're saying, hey, sure, you can get a grant so long as you're not an institution sponsoring, partnering with, applying for grants, providing a grant sub-award to any person or organization that performs or promotes the performance of an abortion unless the abortion is, and there's more to it, but the point is that you are being smart and crafty in putting it in a manner that says, look, here's the scoop. We in North Dakota don't want monies going to organizations that promote abortion.
That's actually in our Century Code. That language was from a different part of the Century Code.
But NDSU has been thumbing their nose.
They've been thwarting it by just going backdoor.
And saying, yeah, that's fine. Isn't that cute that that's what you want?
Yeah.
We're still going to do it. Now, by taking this approach, it actually causes them to have some strong consideration on whether they want to move forward with the continued promotion of Planned Parenthood and abortion, because they could cause them to lose grants.
Well, and it's a 2-to-1 match grant, up to, or 3-to-1 match or something. So it's, money hurts, right? So there was a lot of fighting on the floor on it. And I just stood up and said, I don't believe in divorce, Mr. President, but let's have a great divorce.
An amicable divorce.
Yes, let's have a great divorce. And it's very, very simple. You just stop partnering with Planned Parenthood, because this language is literally in, I think it's chapter 14. It's almost word for word taken out of there. So we're just putting it in there and saying, okay, do you hear me now?
Well, I think it's interesting that they've been so sneaky, and there have been people howling in the state forever going like, why are our kids learning this Planned Parenthood stuff at NDSU when that's not what we're all about in the state? And they've been going backdoor with the federal funds and saying, oh yeah, well, neener.
So apparently in Fargo at a different talk show, who's a brother to our former U.S. Senator, has been bashing me every day saying I don't believe in, she just cut off spending for research and no, it's not that bill. We passed that. There's nothing to do with that. It has to do with these grants, and I guess the rest of the colleges can have the grant if they don't quit working with this organization. It's just that simple. So now it comes to you.
Yeah.
So be a watchdog for me on that one.
I would think that this will be fine in the House.
I think so too.
I would think.
Well, especially since it's just kind of parroting what's in the Century Code already, is it not?
Yeah. It's not new language. And you know what? Let me say this, and everybody knows I'm passionate about this, but do you really think that God is going to continue to bless North Dakota if we don't take a stand on this? I say this to oil people and business people all the time. I understand that's not your issue, but it is the bottom fundamental issue.
Yep.
So, and that's what North Dakota, mass amount of legislators. We have a pro-life caucus now in the House and Senate. It's 45 members that show up. We're being loud. We're sick and tired of being
silent.
Just see you later, little girl.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, that's good. I'll hand it to you
this.
that was, when I say crafty, I don't mean underhanded. It's just smart. A smart way, because you have to understand how things work and how to accomplish what your objectives are.
And again, we got a 2/3 vote out of the House on it.
Yep.
It kind of goes along with the whole trend, though, going on right now with the legislature, thwarting federal overreach by making our state sovereign and just enforcing our laws and taking back a little bit of some of the power that's been sucked out of our state from into federal coffers. So.
And we have the 10th Amendment, and I think, Rick, we're going to have to face that pretty soon here. The 10th Amendment. I'm passionate about that.
It's going to be #1 issue. If it's starting to now. In 2 years when we come back, it's going to be already there. If we met annually, I think already next year it would be at the forefront.
Well, that bill just passed the Senate today to meet annually.
Oh, did it pass?
Yeah.
It did.
Well, how interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
So annual
great
sessions
updates here. Great
coming.
updates, Janne. Thank you so much for giving us all the latest skinny on the Senate.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, folks, we are going to be back with a little bit of mailbag tonight on a Tuesday, believe it or not. And there's a piece of wood for you to enjoy.
Howdy folks, it's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay bussin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
Did you know the Foundation for Rural Service awards scholarships for rural students? The scholarships range from $2,500 to $7,000. Go to www.frs.org for information and applications. If you're a Beck Fiber customer or the dependent of a Beck Fiber customer, you might qualify for scholarships. Beck awards scholarships to seniors headed to college or to students attending University of Mary. Go to www.beck.coop for eligibility guidelines and applications.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. It's back to Lori and me, and it's...
You didn't say your after hours oasis of sanity yet, man. Who are you?
I said it last time.
I totally missed it? Really? Seriously?
Yes. I usually do that at the beginning of segment 3, don't I?
Did you do that with Yana and I missed it?
Yes. You were so excited to think about what questions you're going to be asking Yana.
I kind of was.
I don't even know. Did Becker talk? I have no idea.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm so
Yes,
busted.
I did.
Okay, all right. I am paying attention now, and because we're doing a mailbag, and a very unusual midweek mailbag, but we have been getting a lot of feedback. And the reason we're doing this is because if you find us on Facebook, you can see on the very bottom there of your screen, Facebook, No Apologies with Becker. The deal is that we've been asked to ask little questions of our audience and just solicit answers and just get a little feedback. And we've been getting some really, really great feedback on some of the queries, if you will. So
hey, listen, and if you haven't jumped on and responded, and I mean, interact, man. It's fun. You know, see your comments come up because we love your interaction, and I think that the other viewers appreciate your involvement as well.
Agreed. So as you see on the screen, this is one of our questions from a previous show. And after we get done with the show, we'll just ask you some sort of question about it too. So should the city of Fargo give the Kmart area developer $3 million in subsidies for new construction, was the premise of the question. And so here are some of the answers from our amazingly intelligent viewers. No. Nope, just like FedEx, they are going to build without the money. Now, see, these people are very savvy. They know, you don't necessarily have to dangle a carrot in front of people. No, Costco was given around $2 million. Why? So they could build a ridiculous entrance off Highway 83 and take away the ability to go north out of the TSC entrance. What a mess. These companies have enough money, and they are mask Nazis. That's not politically correct, by the way. Okay. No, I got into trouble for saying the N-word one time. I was talking about something about a masked Nazi, and somebody looked at me in horror, in abject horror, and I was like,
You can't say Nazi
you
now?
can't. Apparently, you can't even
Nazi,
say that.
Nazi, 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 Nazi,
Right?
Nazi, Nazi,
All
Nazi,
right,
Nazi,
well,
Nazi, 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 Nazi.
Developers
Nazi.
are for-profit entities who can surely handle things on their own. The only entities who should receive tax breaks and subsidies are nonprofits. Do you think that? I don't think that.
You know what? Who cares about a nonprofit as far as the nonprofit? Here, oh my gosh. Okay. So whoever wrote that, I appreciate what you're saying. The thing is, we have fallen into a trap of what we think of as nonprofits.
Right?
Now, I was traveling one time, and I'm standing in line trying to go through whatever, immigration or yada yada. And the person is striking up a conversation with me, and they say, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, you know, this. And then I'm like, how about you? And she said, I work for a nonprofit. Well, what the heck does that mean? Who cares what the structure, the
Right?
taxing structure of your organization
Why
is?
don't you just say what it is?
Can you
rather
imagine
than...
if someone asked me what I want to do or what I do for work, and I said, I work for a for-profit? It's so stupid.
That's a really
it's
good
so
point.
stupid. It
Yep.
doesn't mean anything. You still make a salary.
Exactly.
There's nothing virtuous, inherently virtuous, in working for a nonprofit. No one gives a crap.
That's kind of
Stop your
virtue
virtue
signaling.
signaling.
It is. It's true. It's all true. Okay, can we put that last one up because we got one more on this one? Go back. I think we had one more on the last one that we didn't go to. Clearly, West Fargo is doing something different than Bismarck-Mandan. They are growing and getting more businesses than Bismarck. If you build it, they will come mentality is working. Do you think that is true? Do you believe with that? Do you think that...
I'm focused on the fact that it said mentally.
I know, I was
working.
trying to be kind.
You were, okay, I'm sorry.
I was editing there because I read typo, okay?
Yeah.
So, all right. But I thought that was interesting comparing Bismarck-Mandan with West Fargo, because it does seem that West Fargo is really exploding right now.
Well, I mean, it is, but there's a critical mass, and Fargo's definitely growing, but people are not, when they're talking about growing, it's not because of subsidies. You know,
Right.
they're growing because people are moving there. Now you can say, are they moving there because of businesses that got subsidies? I don't think so. They're moving because there's a critical mass of population that supports things like the cool little ethnic restaurants and this and that, which then draws more people to move in. It's just the nature of things that has nothing to do with subsidies.
Agreed. All right, let's move on. Apparently, Fargo taxpayers think that it's just fine. They haven't...
Is there a they haven't subsidized?
I see. Is there a corporation?
I
that
don't
can
know.
subsidize? Okay.
That's, yeah. We, the people, have no control over the Liberal City Council and clueless mayor. Well,
The next answer is fabulous, and a
It's
mic
called
drop
voting,
moment. It's
exactly.
called voting.
Exactly.
So this
You-
is why I think we have really, really good viewers.
you do have control. You don't have control of what they do, but you have control on getting them out. And the problem is you keep voting the doorknobs back in. And when I say you, I mean we, and that's just the nature of things. So you have to be fed up enough to stop voting doorknobs back into office.
Absolutely not. Only if I can have 3 million. How about no? And then a really large no. All right, we're going to the next question. And this query was about, we're still on the no's. Oh my goodness.
Nah,
Not
let's
unless
go to the
Dickens
next
said, let's go to the
question.
next question. So we got lots of answers here. What kind of no apologies swag would you like? So we were talking a little bit about the glass that we have on the
Normally, I have a different one today.
Right.
as you
Normally,
saw.
it's on the Bourbon Bureau, but so let's move on to some of the answers for what kind of swag. We had some great answers too. The free kind. Maybe we can convert some of the other party that way. Some kind of material that I can etch and adhere to my 30-round magazines. Since I didn't win the fast cash, I'd like a bourbon glass. Ooh, those are already getting popular. A heavy insulated Carhartt coat. So this is my favorite because we go from a heavy insulated Carhartt coat to the bottom. It says tank top. So welcome to North Dakota. That covers all of our attire right there in one
Tank
fell
tops
swoop.
and Carhartts.
Nope, we're...
What the heck is
I
that?
don't know. I don't know why that's
I
it.
don't know.
Okay, hat and coffee mug would be cool. Coffee mug with a picture of our awesome Republican... Oh, that's weird. Okay, and a picture of us on it? I don't think so. That's really cool. Trucker hat. I think we definitely
That
have to get
could
trucker
work.
hats. I am
That could
all on board for
definitely
the
work.
trucker hats. A hat, mug, t-shirt, cash, a
Cash.
muzzle.
Wait.
I
Cash
know,
is
right?
not swag.
I don't think swag comes with like the logo on cash, but a muzzle made me laugh. A hydro flask, multi-cam cap, pretty specific AR-15 mags, and zipper hoodie. So those are.
I want to do AR-15 mags. What do you say? Trucker hats,
Trucker hats.
Wife beaters, ooh, so inappropriate. And AR-15 Megs.
It'll be interesting to
agree
see
on
what
that?
the boss
And-
says on the swag. So
and
we'll
the,
have to.
and the glasses, high balls.
We'll
low
just have
balls,
to put
whatever.
those to him. So low balls, high balls.
I don't know. It holds bourbon, I drink
Thank you, everyone who answered on our questions.
it.
and thank
AR-15
you for-
Megs.
Yeah, that's probably.
That is it. I'm going to look into that.
It'll be fun. Anyway, thank you for weighing in and continue to do so on Facebook. We really appreciate your answers to stuff. So coming up, we are going to be talking about Biden's executive orders.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you. Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best-built, best-backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. We are at the final segment, segment number 5. Cinco.
Cinco.
Cinque.
Yeah. I can only count to 3 in Korean. Sorry. I don't have number 5.
All right. So it's time for us to talk about Biden's executive orders. He's got a lot we'd like to cover them because we want you to be informed. Yes, some of them are
Torturous as a word.
redundant, inane, vacuous.
AEM, a graduated form of torture, but worthwhile looking at because we want you to know what's going on. And, you know, rather than them sneaking them all through in one day and then a number of other days and they're all in the background. And you'll notice that the press is really not particularly talking about his executive orders. And so for that reason, we thought it was important to highlight them. So,
absolutely.
All right, we are on number 28 of untold executive orders.
Right. So we've got the executive order on protecting a federal workforce. And this is an interesting one. It goes right along with a lot of his executive orders, which sort of buttress the idea of this megalithic, monolithic, huge federal government bureaucracy. And everything is all about growing federal government and federal government having more power. Exactly.
It is also the policy of the United States to encourage union organizing and collective bargaining, which I thought was really interesting in light of the fact that they have made so many unions mad already and so unhappy with them regarding some of the earlier executive orders dealing with the energy.
He talks there about rebuilding the federal workforce, and it's the federal workforce was not disbanded or dismantled in any way under Trump. Well, all they're looking for is a power grab by way of getting the unions in, getting that demographic, that vote, pandering and catering to them, and then using them to work hand in hand with the federal government. We've got another graphic up here. The director of OPM shall provide a report to the president with recommendations to promote a $15 an hour minimum wage for federal employees.
It's in the executive order, so there you have it.
Right.
It's not really his place to do that by fiat, however.
No, he's complete. Remember, we talked before about how he had previously said that only a dictator rules by executive order, and then he's going way out there and doing so much more than that. In that order, in the order protecting the federal workforce, there are a lot of other items in there. He has revoked several of President Trump's executive orders. 13837 is hereby revoked, it says in this one, and that was an executive order by Trump which reduced the ability of federal employees to conduct union activity on the taxpayer's dime. And so
he wants to put that back on the taxpayer's dime.
Because it's okay if we have federal employees working and spending time, effort, and lost productivity in union activities. So he's doing away with that because productivity is not something that's important.
No. Just pandering is. So, productivity pandering. Executive Order 13839 also hereby revoked. And this one, the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey has consistently found that less than 1/3 of federal employees believe that the government deals with poor performers effectively.
Right. So again, in line with what Trump did for regulations, trying to decrease regulations, get rid of all of the bureaucracy to simplify things. Along with that, he did the executive orders, like you said, 13839, which allows a person to get rid of a bad employee. As we know, not only on the state level, but on federal level, it's virtually impossible, which is madness. If you've got a poor performer, which means someone who's wasting taxpayer money, you can't get rid of them. So Trump does an executive order that says, you know what, let's try and not make it absolutely impossible to get rid of a bad worker. And then Biden comes in and says, hey, you know what, in this executive order, we're going to get rid of Trump's executive order, and we are going to reinstate just how impossible it is to get rid of a bad federal employee.
It's kind of mind-blowing, actually, the fact that he's making these horrible decisions based on what somebody else did and not even thinking it through very much, because that's just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
It absolutely is ridiculous. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah, so many different things
Makes
in here
it impossible to fire bad employees. I mean, how?
Even on the city level, even on the county level, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's
very
impossible.
much so.
They are in there, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
I don't know how you can stand in front of people and say that you care about efficiency of government on whatever level, when in the same breath you're saying, we're not firing anybody, we're protecting these jobs.
Yeah, it flies in the face of reason. It really is.
Absolutely does.
Silliness. Okay, so is there anything else on this bill that you
No,
want to talk about?
We can move on.
Should we
to the
move
next
on?
one if you'd like.
Yay! Okay, we're on number 29. This is an executive order on enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform. The all-volunteer force thrives when it is composed of diverse Americans who can meet the rigorous standards for military service and an inclusive, there is that word again. It's not equity, but an inclusive military strengthens our national security. It's funny how that the wording is just always brought around to the same subjects. And you want to read another one here?
Sure. A meticulous, comprehensive study requested by the Department of Defense found that enabling transgender individuals to serve openly in the United States military would have only a minimal impact on military readiness and healthcare costs. The Secretary of Defense also concluded that it was inappropriate to create a process that would enable service members to take steps to transition gender while serving.
Now, this makes no sense to me. It just simply doesn't on a practical level, because you're going to have to take a lot of time off. Are you not? I mean, in order to transition, and then
this whole, I mean, what you're going to have is people who are having the difficulties with gender identity joining in the armed forces to be able to get their transitioning surgeries paid for. Incredibly expensive, and elective. If they pay for this, they definitely should be paying for breast augmentations and any other number of things for where people are feeling that they need this, you know, so on and so forth.
Wants versus needs?
Right. The cost is going to be very, very significant. There are also other components to this where they're talking about being inclusive, and yet they're not using common sense. They're going to completely cater to a minuscule segment of the population. But they're not worried about diversity of political opinion. They're not worried about that at all. And on the other hand, they should be worried about other cultural or identity type diversity. You get people like the guy that shot up Fort Hood. I mean, that diversity, maybe that's what you should be focusing on,
That's
President
a good point.
Biden.
Well, join us next time. We will have Scott Lauser with us, and we'll talk some more executive orders. Join us next time.